Hello everybody. Today we are going to be reviewing Link's Crossbow Training for the Wii. Oh boy, what a game, you guys. I know this is one of those games that people, I think it's kind of a joke game or a meme game or something. I don't know, probably not a meme game, but people talk about it in a bad way. It's kind of, I don't know if black sheep is a good way to describe it, but it's one of those Zelda games that people look at and they're like, oh, this is lame. And I'm here to say I don't find it to be lame. I think it's rather pretty dang awesome. I really like Link's Crossbow Training. I get a very large amount of enjoyment from it, and I consistently enjoy it, and it's very stimulating, and I have pretty minimal problems with it. Biggest problem is that there isn't enough of it. Oh my gosh, there's like there's enough there for like for me, the way I play the game. Or I don't know, I'm going everywhere, but like I feel like with what there is, this is like 1/3 of what there should be. I feel like there should be, or at least a half. At least a half. I think there should at least be twice as much levels as what there is, or maybe not twice. That might be a little high. But like, maybe this is 2/3 of the game. I don't know. Because I do like what's there, and like, I feel like if it was that easy, they would have done it. But I don't know. And so I don't know how difficult it would be to add more levels. And especially given like they're kind of constrained to what they had in Twilight Princess, and they didn't cover everything, but they covered a considerable amount. No, and they absolutely could have covered more. Actually, yeah, never mind. Actually, the more I think about it, there's a lot in Twilight Princess that they didn't cover that I think could have been covered, and that would have been really cool. And so now I'm thinking, yeah, they should have so the problem isn't like they didn't have enough to work with. I think there's more that they could have done. Like I'm assuming. For most of these reviews, I'm assuming you're watching these either because you like the sound of my voice, you like hearing me talk about things, or you're someone who's looking at these games and just wants to hear someone talk about it. And so I'm just kind of assuming that when I review things, I'm assuming you know what I'm talking about, basically. And so I'm just gonna start. I don't know if I clarified that. I guess you would have, if you'd been watching these, you kind of get that idea, as I'm not really explaining the game very much. I'm just kind of explaining how I feel about the game, and it's assuming you know what I'm talking about. But I don't know. I guess now that little nugget of truth is here in this one particular video, and so whoever watches this video now, you know. But in case you already didn't, but I was gonna say all that to say, I was just gonna talk about some things without like explaining the game, and I've already done that, so that wasn't really necessary. But oh well, tangent. So there's a lot that they could have. And oh my gosh, I'm just going everywhere. That all started from the whole idea that like, oh, they don't have a lot of content to work with, and as I'm thinking about it, actually they do. They could have done like something with the Water Temple, could have done something with Forest Temple, could have done something Twilight Temple, could have done something. I don't know, could have done more with like Hyrule Castle maybe. Could have done, I don't know. There's just a lot of things that they could have done and they didn't do. And I don't know. Those aren't all the examples. There's more, but yeah, just initially I was playing in my head, oh, maybe they didn't have enough to work with, but I feel like they had enough. Probably they could have done more. At least with regards to having enough to work with. Now, as for like how difficult that would be, it seems like a pretty simple game. I have a hard time imagining that it was difficult to make this game. I have a very difficult time imagining that. And so I feel like they should have been able to add more to this game. But I don't know how complicated level design and figuring out and like coding, or I don't know, whatever all that stuff was for this game at the time. So who knows? Maybe there was a reason why it felt very I don't know, like it was missing out, like it should have had more. But even though it was missing out, I still think this is a good, borderline great game. Like, it literally is just a problem of not enough content for me, at least. And even with that lacking of content, I still get like hours of enjoyment from this game. I think it's. I'm not usually someone who goes for the, I want to see how much I can do better or improve on how I previously did on something. But for this game, that's kind of like all there is. Like you have to come at this game with that I don't know, that ability to enjoy that, I suppose. Because that's really the only replay value this game has, is that desire to improve on your score and like do things great. I mean, there's some replay value if you happen to do multiplayer with people for this game, but like I don't think it's that appealing that most people are gonna want to play multiplayer Link's Crossbow Training, especially because it's like a take your turn. It's a take turns type of multiplayer, and so that's especially not appealing to most people. But that is something to note. But like, yeah, I think the major replay value, if you just played through every level and like did that once, didn't bother like replaying any levels really, or trying to improve your score, maybe I feel like you could get through the game in at most a few hours. I feel like you could probably get I don't think it's unreasonable to think that a casual person could beat this game in like an hour, maybe. Like because each level is like maybe, I don't know, 2-3 minutes long, maybe. That might be I mean they vary, but that's an estimate average, maybe even slightly lower. But and there's 3 minutes per level, and there's like, I want to say maybe, I'm just gonna look it up. I'm in front of my computer. How many levels to Link's Crossbow Training? How many levels to Link's Crossbow Training? There are 9 total levels. That sounds... And each is composed of 3 different stages. Okay, so that's 9 times 3, 9, 18, 27. 27... Well... Each is composed of 3 different stages. Yeah, okay, so... Basically 27... I call them level, but technically stages, I guess, or areas to play in, I suppose. I'll just say stages. 29, 18, 27 stages, I think, if I'm understanding that correctly. And so 27. Now I can do a calculator. What's 27? I don't need a calculator. 27 times 3 is 24, 60. 7 times 3 is 740. 21. 21 plus 60 is 81. So like an hour and 20 minutes maybe per level, assuming like, because I mean it's not like there is a sort of bar that you have to hit in order to move on. Like if you get a low enough score, you're not going to be able to move on. But it's not terribly difficult to get the bare minimum. Sometimes, I mean, I don't think it's unreasonable that the average person would have to repeat levels or stages a few times in order to move on. But I don't, for the vast majority. That might add on maybe an hour and a half. That's probably how long it would take to beat the game. And so if you just come at it from that, like you don't care to improve or anything, you're just kind of like playing for each level and seeing how it goes, you're not going to get much mileage out of this game. It's not gonna have much to do for you. However, and I think when I first got the game, that was how I played through it, and that was like ages ago. But I need water. But I revisited it like a few years ago, and I had already played through it, I think, but I came and then so I played through it again, played through the whole thing again, and then I tried. I didn't realize this the first time I got the game, but like just the importance of like scores, I suppose, or like how you could, all the things that you could do to increase your scores, and and just how crazy high, how much crazy higher I could get my scores if I actually like cared about that and like tried to do good. And some examples being like shooting targets consecutively without missing, and shooting bullseyes, that kind of thing. And then you have like little miniature like hitting kind of random environmental objects like pots or scarecrows, and that sort of thing, and that unlocked. Oh my gosh, because I was like playing against my older scores, and they were like so. I don't actually know if this was the case. I might have started a completely new guy, but I just remembered like really getting into the whole like, dang, how can I increase my score? Or like, because each time you first play through a stage for the first time, you're gonna be like, it's very new. You're not prepared at all, and so you're probably not gonna get a very good score. But like, and so when you repeat it and redo it over and over and over, and like see how like crazy drastically your score increases, I don't know. I found that satisfying, and I'd always be like, like for this type of game, I really enjoyed the like, oh, I missed this. I did this wrong. I could have done better. That kind of thing, and like being, oh man, next time, or like I'm gonna keep playing this stage over and over until I basically, at the very least, hit all the targets consecutively. That was always like a pretty major goal of like, because that's like the bare minimum you can do to get the highest score without like worrying about going for bullseyes or going for bonus environmental objects and that kind of thing. If you can just hit every target and then do that and then hit every target without missing, that's like, ooh, man. And that'll last you. And I don't know. So doing that was, I don't know, I really enjoyed that, and just like improving my scores, getting better, and even though there was like a kind of limited stage count, it still lasted me a long time. Like just because like there was some of the levels there's not a lot of potential. Really, it is as simple as like, okay, hit all the targets, hit them all without missing, and then after that the next level would be like, okay, just and then maybe hit all the environmental objects. But then like the ultimate thing is like hitting all bullseyes and not missing and hitting all the targets. And so that would be like, that's like the I don't know if I'm using this right, but I want to use it, the penultimate way of, I don't think I'm using that right. I feel like penultimate is like second to ultimate. Let me look up penultimate, the last but one in a series of things, second last. Yeah, probably not the word I should have used, but I guess that's like the ultimate way of like, okay, if you like, once you hit that, you're probably not gonna get you're probably not gonna be able to really improve much more out of it. But so that I don't really know where I was going from that, because I know I was talking about how the beginner, I wanted to talk about, I don't know if I actually started this, but how the beginner stages, those can, oh, I got it. I was saying like beginner stages, there's not much else to them. Like, it's pretty simple to go about hitting all the targets, hitting them without missing, hitting environmental objects, and then like going for the bullseyes. I guess I've never gone for the bullseyes, but that's like ultimate challenge level, and that might be a little bit much for me, somewhat, just because it can get a little like, oh, I missed this one bullseye, and I don't know. I mean, that's probably not it. I haven't really tried that. Maybe I should. Maybe I would get even more mileage out of it. But all that to say, just that there are some levels that aren't like, it's not like each level is gonna last you the same amount of time. You're gonna spend more time on certain levels just because they have more different challenging ways for you to go about getting the highest score possible. And so I just wanted to clarify that they don't all have the same mileage. But even with that, like, I still think you're gonna get a lot of mileage out of it if you come at it from I'm gonna drink water again. Ugh. Oh, I gotta stretch now. Yeah, you're gonna get a lot of mileage out of it. I think, even though you're not gonna get the same mileage out of it each and every level, but there's enough spread around that you're gonna get a lot of mileage, I think, in trying to like going about increasing your scores. There's enough like difference in ways you can go about tackling challenges and like trying to improve and that kind of thing, to get a lot of mileage out of it, I think. And so yeah, and basically, I don't know how much I'm restating things. I'm kind of losing my train of thought, but like just that while I think there does need to be, this game would be a great game if they had more stages, but even though there aren't more stages, this is still a good game. And especially, I want to say it was like going for like something like $8 or $7 or something along that lines. One sec. Yeah, I just looked it up, and goes for like 7 to maybe 15, but you should be able to get it for like $7 or $10 around that range. And I think this game is, I mean, for me, it's worth it for that price, for the amount of fun I have with it and the replayability. Like, I still go back to this game. Even, I mean, it'd be one thing maybe if I like really maxed out all my scores. Maybe I wouldn't like ever come back to this game. But I mean, there's still like a funness to it's still a fun shooting game, and it's fun to, you know, do your best and like, you know, see how you can improve, I guess, even if you or like, I don't know, it's just a fun shooting game. I get enough fun out of it and trying to, that kind of thing, where even, I don't know, I really don't ever see myself like getting to a point where I can't do any better with stages or whatever. But like, even if I did get to that point, the game is fun enough that I might revisit it, but that's probably not even, I don't know. I just think it's a game where there's always opportunity. Like, every time I put it down, I can always come back to it and, you know, try and improve. I think that's how it feels to me. And I want to say I've gotten at least somewhere like, I don't think it's unreasonable to think I've gotten like 10 hours of it. 10 hours out of it, at least. Maybe more. But, yeah, it's definitely a fun game. Definitely get it. I think for the price, it was worth it for me. I think it's worth having for that, for like the price of like $7, $8 or whatever. Yeah, I like it a lot for that. Yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want. And then also, you know, I guess I was gonna say, I was just trying to see how I should frame this, and I'm thinking I'm just gonna talk about all the pros before I get into the cons. Not that there are many cons, but there are some, and I've already kind of, but whatever. Some other pros. I love it's not just a shooting game, you know? It's a Zelda shooting game. You're going through the Twilight Princess environments, and they're all like, I don't know. I think the aesthetic of the game is a cheaper version of Twilight Princess. Like, it kind of has that with the whole way the menu's set up, and you know, the reticle is kind of like a little, I don't know. The reticle's not that bad. The targeting reticle. I mean, it's like this. It's just this standouting blue reticle, and so that I was gonna say that kind of gives it a. I don't know how much that really contributes to the cheap aesthetic. It just has an overall cheaper feel to it. But there's still environments that I really like playing through, and I can still enjoy. But yeah, that's just something to note about the aesthetic. But yeah, I think it does have a ness to it that is like, hey, it's not just a shooting game. It's, you know, it's kind of got a cool feel to it. But that's not a strong point. It's not huge. Like, I don't know. I don't think it might be a minor, maybe subconscious contributing factor to me wanting to revisit the game from time to time. But it's not that huge. It's not that in my mind. But I definitely like some levels, like, a lot, because it's the combination of the aesthetic plus the gameplay, and those levels would be like my top favorite levels. I think are the Zora's water, the going down the stream where you're shooting fish. I really like that one, even though it's like crazy quick. It's way too quick, but I love the look of it, and it's simple enough, but also kind of stimulating enough where it's like, hey, it's kind of challenging, but it's also like you can see all the enemies. They're all killable. It's not crazy complicated, but you know, it does take some challenge to get a perfect score on that level. But you can. That's one of the levels that like it's not difficult to get a perfect score, or to get like so high you can't really improve, basically. But I still really love the look of that level. Second favorite, or not even second favorite, I don't know which of these are my top. Like, I'm not ranking these are just my favorites. Another favorite is the I don't know what is, like the Elden Bridge or something bridge one, where you're like on the caravan and you're like fending off the bokoblins riding on boars and the birds flying at you. And I love that level because I feel like there's a ton of I don't know, a ton of oh gosh, like ways to go about like trying to get your best score, because like it's the whole thing about score multipliers. And like, so with the boars, they take like 5 hits to kill, and so you could shoot them down, but versus the bokoblins are all like one shot each. But with each, the more shots you take a little risk every time you shoot, with the chance that it might not miss, so it might be safer just to go for the bokoblins. But you can get crazy scores just by like wasting them on all the boars, getting that score multiplier up, because the boars don't give out that many points. And so you build up your score multiplier killing the boars, and then you shoot down the bokoblins, and then boom, you got these crazy scores because you got the multiplier all up, and then you're shooting the birds, and it's kind of fun to see. Like, there's so many enemies in that level, it can be a little difficult trying to kill them all. And so I like that challenge of like, on repeat attempts, can I kill them all? And sometimes you can go for okay, I'm not going to worry about the score multiplier, I'm just going to try and kill all the enemies. And so I'll use my explosive arrow, which kills the boars in 1 hit and kills everything in a radius with 1 hit. And so, that's another way to go about it. There's just a lot of ways to go about it, and it's just cool. It just feels, cool, like you're fending off bad guys, and it just feels a bit more dynamic and interesting that way, as opposed to just, shooting targets, like shooting blank targets. But that one's really fun. I also very much enjoyed the wolf one. That one's also fun. It's that whole like, how many can I kill all these enemies without missing, because there's just so many enemies. And so there's like, with that one, I feel like there's always a satisfying way of trying to improve, and I like that about it. And it's kind of a cool environment. You're shooting wolves and stuff, and they make it satisfying in that one. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how worth it is for me to single out these individual levels, but yeah, I don't know. There's just some levels that like have a beautiful marriage of aesthetic plus gameplay, and that feedback is awesome. I need more water. Yeah. And so, yeah. I was trying to think if there's anything else to it. I think that's basically, and then I don't know, there's going back to like, there's some minorly cool things with, I don't really think this is worth bringing up, I guess, that much, but just thought I'd note of it, like, because the first time I played it, I didn't realize there were so many different, like, there's some hidden secrets in here, kind of, not crazy hidden, but like some interesting things that I didn't know about, that I was like, oh my gosh, you do this, and it unlocks like a new part of the level, or it gives you like a huge increase in your score or something. And that's when you like interact with the environment. Like one cool thing, you shoot the scarecrow's armor plate, and you shoot that, you have to like shoot it up to 8, and then at that point, like each time you shoot it, you get like it increases in how many points it gives you for shooting the armor thing, and then ultimately you can just like keep shooting it, so it gives you 8 over and over and over again. And so like, when you can do that for certain levels to rack up points, and then when you shoot the pumpkin, it gives you 1,000 points instead of like just 10 or something, or 50 or 30 or something. I don't know. Like each time you hit the armor plate, it makes the pumpkin give out more points when you ultimately shoot it. So that was a cool thing. And then there's just a whole bunch of like, if you really take the time to interact with all the environmental objects that are shootable, you might find some like just interesting surprises. And I think that's really, I don't know, I think that's kind of cool. I think that adds that was a neat novelty sort of thing. It's not a huge thing though. It probably wasn't worth mentioning, but I don't know, I felt like mentioning it. Trying to think, is there anything else before we talk about some minor cons? Yeah, I don't think so. Just wish there was more to it. But yeah, so let's talk about the cons. And this is kind of an awkward one, but I didn't play with the Wii Zapper, and so maybe it'd be different if I had the Zapper. But just playing it with my Wii Remote and nunchucks, it's fine. I don't, and the only reason I could see having the Zapper is if it solves this issue, and this issue is my hand cramps, like after, I don't know, maybe 30-40 minutes of playing. Like my hand holding the remote will start to cramp because of the way I'm like pointing it, at the TV, like basically nonstop. It's just, I don't know, results in me cramping my hand, and so that's kind of annoying. But It can also be a little natural reminder of like, hey, you know, once you hit an hour, your hand is really cramping, so let's take a break. Let's not play this anymore. And so I don't know, it kind of works itself out a little bit there. It's like a natural break causer, which is kind of interesting. Kind of I don't know. It's technically a con, but it kind of works out as I can see it as a I can see it as a pro, but honestly, it's a con that it cramps my hand. So that's one thing. And I was saying, like, I don't know if the zapper would fix that, but maybe it would. Maybe that's why it's there. I don't really know what the zapper is supposed to add. It doesn't look. I mean, it's kind of cool that it's shaped it's shaped as the weapon that Link uses. It's like he uses the zapper, so I guess it's kind of cool there. But like, I don't know. Maybe I'll have to look it up, but I don't really see what the zapper adds, unless it just makes it easier not to cramp up your hand. But yeah, so cramping hand, that's annoying. And then I was looking at what people thought of the game, and just to get some, and I stumbled on some interesting ideas, and like it is. I mean, I guess first thought, and no one really said this. I was kind of already aware of it, and I'm sure most people who know about this game are going to be aware of it. But it's not at all a Zelda game. Like, it's Zelda only in aesthetic, I suppose. But like, and even then, not really. I mean, it's more of the on-rail shooter aesthetic plays a huge role. So the Zelda aesthetic is there, but it really is just an aesthetic. It's not at all like a Zelda game at all. And so it could literally be any game, probably, as long as it did everything else well and had cool environments or whatever. But it is really just a simple on-rail shooter. And so it's not at all that, like, I haven't played a ton of on-rail shooters. The ones I have, like, I can think of are like Kid Icarus Uprising. Love that game, but that's also like, that's a different type of on-rail. I'm trying to think of on-rail shooters that are like similar to Link's Crossbow Training that I've played, and I haven't, none come to mind, but I'm aware that like the style of playing is like very similar to like arcade games or that kind of thing, and so maybe I'd find those very entertaining as well. But I don't know. That's where I'm not totally knowledgeable on-rail shooters, so I don't really know how standout Link's Crossbow Training is as one. I know I really enjoyed it, but I don't know how it compares to other actual like on-rail shooters of this type. So it makes it hard for me to say this is a really standout on like a game, when it might just be a game for people who happen to like on-rail shooters. And I didn't think I liked on-rail shooters like that much, but maybe I should try some other similar on-rail shooters. And maybe it really just turns out that I happen to really like on-rail shooters. But this game isn't that unique or interesting for people who don't like on-rail shooters. And I thought I was one of those people, but maybe I'm not. I haven't played other on-rail shooters, so I don't really know. But all that to say, just that, yeah, I don't know how much of a standout on-rail shooters this game is. I know it's really fun to play, but I don't know how other on-rail shooters of this genre or playstyle or whatever probably might. I have no idea how they fare or how they do things differently. So yeah, So yeah, that's just to say, like, I don't know how standout of a game this is. I already said that a whole bunch. So yeah, I just felt like mentioning that just as a disclaimer. But yeah, that was the big thing I noticed people saying about it, but they still like it. As far as like whether it's worth you going out to get, that's kind of tough to. I mean, if you just and I think one thing just came into my mind, but people also mentioned it's like a time waster game. That's absolutely true. I think. I mean, I think it's a fun time waster game. That might, but it is definitely a time waster game. Like, there really isn't much to it besides just like, ooh, I want to increase my score, that kind of thing. And again, it is fun, but like, it's a pretty simple time waster game, and there's not much to it. But yeah, I don't know. That's just something to, I suppose, be aware of or whatever. But yeah. Gosh, I thought I had something else I was gonna say, but I think in terms of whether or not it's worth it to get this game, I'm trying to think. I mean, if you're looking at it, I guess, and it looks cool to you, then probably. But like, I don't know how I'd recommend this to an average person. I mean, I think to an average person, it'll probably provide a good time. But you know, I don't know if it's like worth going out and like experiencing it or anything like that. But yeah. I'm trying to think if there's anything else to say, but I think that's basically it. But yeah, overall, what would I score it? Oof, that's a toughie. 'Cause really, if there was just more to it, if there was just more game, if there was just more stages, I feel like it would be a solid 8, maybe even 9 out of 10. If there was enough stages, it could even be a 9 out of 10. Maybe that might be a little pushing it, but yeah, the love the gameplay. It's very, very stimulating for me, but doesn't really like. There's just, I think, too few stages to really say, oh yeah, this is, I don't know, an 8 out of 10 game. Like, it can provide 8 out of 10 enjoyment, perhaps, but like, I don't know, I just feel like there needs to be way more to it for me to call it an 8 out of 10. So I'm more inclined to give it like a 7, closer to a 7.5 maybe, but out of 10. But really fun game, really liked it, but just needs more to it, and it's pretty simple, and who knows, maybe I'm actually, you know, I need to play some on-rail shooters and realize that this game is not that novel or interesting. But as someone who's just a casual video game player, I really liked it. Stood out to me as a fun game. I'm grateful for all that. I come back to it. I enjoy the time I spend with it. There's pretty minimal complaints. So yeah, overall, that's how I feel about it.